Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video there is a link to get £50 back for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, Arwin, Chocolate Saiyan, Neil, the Adam Meakin, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
Hello, Friday.
Hey, good morning. Happy Friday.
Good afternoon.
Hey.
Afternoon, guys.
Immediately a shout out
Keyword
to
Friday.
Julio Pabon, who says no to all the housekeeping questions. Good start. Thank you very much, Julio Pabon. Really appreciate the support. Also, Sleeping Warrior says, not like Nathan to be late. Well, we were doing a presentation with the 10th Man, so there's no point in rushing him or, getting it to be any less concise by fussing in with the live show that was about to start. So, yeah, check out the Uncut and After show. It'll be available to members at about 4 o'clock UK time. But yeah, if not, you'll have to wait till Saturday, I think it'll come out, but either way. Anyway, where were we? Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curvature?
Nonsense.
Only in May.
Only in math? Any evidence of it in reality? The physical sphere edge that they used to say blocks boats and buildings and give us a very specific feet and inches value for how much that physical horizon was blocking things by?
Yes, it's over there where you don't see the horizon, but where it's supposed to be.
It's where it's supposed to be, but you just can't see it.
That's right.
It's not a horizon.
And exactly, it's not a horizon then. We've missed
No,
you,
it's
Chocolate.
just an invisible horizon.
Yeah.
That would
because
be
you have to
then
see it,
not a
the horizon.
horizon, since horizon is defined as visible, apparent. So
Yeah.
if you can't see it, you don't have a horizon.
Yeah, but this one is. Oh wait, what's the opposite of apparent? Actual, right?
Actual.
Right. So this
That's
is
not the
not an
opposite.
apparent horizon; it's an actual horizon, which means in opposition to apparent, you don't see it, but it's there because it
But
has.
if it's defined as apparent, how could it be actual?
Because you actually can't see it.
We do have some evidence testing the claims of the horizon. Because, Taboo Conspiracy 3's done a 21-mile laser observation recently on his channel. And not only was it able to be seen over 21 miles from an observer height of around about a foot, maybe 2 feet off the water's surface, he was able to see the reflection of the laser underneath the laser. Now, if you apply Snell's law with regards to the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection, you can see that that's impossible if the Earth's a sphere. Even if you allow for bendy light bending around the curvature of the Earth in a perfectly consistent curved arc thing with the shape of the Earth, you can't account for the reflection of the light underneath. So we don't have evidence of the horizon, but we do have evidence that debunks that the horizon is the leading edge of a sphere.
Indeed. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No, but you can think that there is.
I can think
It's
that.
the lockstep motion of all things.
Hold on. What am I thinking of? You have to explain that a bit, Anthony.
The two rotation points in the sky proves that's Earth's axis. Because how would they be there otherwise?
When you say axis, that implies that you're going to assume that they're antipodal to one another, with a line.
Oh, of course they're antipodal. I can't prove it, but you can just imagine that they're antipodal to each other.
That's a begging the question, fallacy. If you're trying to prove that we're on a sphere, and you say, well, look at these 2 points in the sky. If I travel south and assume that when I arrive at my location, I'm antipodal from where I began, then they represent an axis. Well, no. That's just you assuming that you're travelling antipodal when you move towards the horizon, following the compass, whatever, south, north, whichever. Well,
yeah, but how else could that be interpreted, Nathan? It's obvious that it's the rotation point underneath because
hold on. I travel in a southward direction, and I look up at the stars, and then I keep going south and look up at the stars. At no point does anything along that journey imply that I've travelled antipodal from where I began and I'm suddenly hanging off the bottom of something. That's nonsense. That's your outrageous claim that you need to prove, not just assume that it's the case and ask me to justify how else it could possibly work with an exasperated tone.
All three observers in the southern hemisphere, when looking south, we all see the same stars.
Hemisphere.
Earth proven.
Yeah, you're assuming your outcome. You're saying if I'm in the southern hemisphere, so what, if I assume that those people are at the bottom of a sphere? Well, that's you assuming your outcome again.
Yeah, but they would point in all other directions if the Earth was flat, Nathan.
What they do is irrelevant to your assumption that they're antipodal on a sphere. That's merely your assumption. So I don't care. I don't make any claims about this. So I couldn't care less. However, your assumption that you're travelling antipodal when you move south is preposterous and outrageous. An outrageous claim you need to prove as opposed to assume by saying, well, if I travel to the southern hemisphere, i.e. assuming you're travelling antipodal, then I'll observe blah, 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 therefore Earth's a sphere. No.
But would you agree, though, that if two observers, when looking south in the southern hemisphere, that I assume, there's no other explanation on a flat plane because they would be looking in the same direction, right?
No. I don't care how it works on a flat plane, right? That, number one, I'm not going to start getting into you challenging me to show how it worked from those different continental points, because I make no claims about it. However, for the second, maybe third time, hemisphere begs the question, right? Do you say, well, how else? No, I don't care. I'm not interested in your false dichotomy, nor do I make any claims about the observation of the stars from these particular continental locations. Now, you do on a sphere if you say hemisphere. And I'm not interested in begging the question. Just not interested, I'm afraid. Assuming antipodal positioning when I travel south is just not something I'm going to do. It's preposterous. It's outrageous. It's a claim you need to prove rather than assume.
Yeah, my son says the same thing, and he says because you can't answer it, because it can't happen on a flat Earth. He really drives me nuts with that 2 points in the sky.
But Nathan, we've got a model that predicts it, and therefore it's right.
Oh, God. Sleeping. Did you trade places with Arwen today? What's going on?
I'm just bored. To be honest with you, I'm trying to demonstrate how you get round how weaselly the blurthers are and how you get round it point by point when they try and be weaselly. The difference is when blurthers really do it, they don't accept they're being weaselly. They think that they've got all the answers, but they're just making
like the guy that we were just talking to in 24/7. Like how weaselly he was.
Sleeping Warriors Lite, because my son says the same thing. He says you just can't answer it.
Interesting. Somebody pointed out they couldn't chat unless they were a member yesterday, and I assumed that it was set to public chant, and it wasn't. So I think I've corrected that now. If you do want to chat and you're a member of the public, you can actually chat in the chat now. Obviously, it wasn't the case yesterday, although I thought it was. I was obviously mistaken.
Is that why you called it public chant instead of public chat?
Public chant,
Can we interject something here about the black swan and the necessity of a hemisphere depends on the radius value of 3959 and Earth curvature being physical, and that has been debunked. So
That's
what
correct.
is this hemisphere begging the question stuff?
But you still have 2 points in the sky, my son will say.
Yeah,
Well,
that's nice.
Can't we address that with, we can confirm the northern point and say, yeah, that's there. How do we confirm that this rotation, this supposed southerly rotating point, is the claimed rotational point of a ball, which is supposedly south, when you're not able to define the south?
I'm not, again, the same principle applies. You could, if you chose to, get into the wrangle-dangle of what they claim the south is where it is on the bottom of a ball, and therefore what they assume the stars do. Now, I've seen the stars rotate in the south, right? Now, if you're going to say, oh, there's no actual point like the Northern Star, well, okay, I'll still accept that they do actually do what they do in the south, but it's above me. Yeah, so to assume that when I get there, it's actually below, literally, the thing I'm looking up at is below where I started, is always going to be the same argument, right? Now, 10th Man's added cream to the top of this pudding by saying, even if we do assume it, we've debunked the premise it's based on. Now, the black swan equally applies to all of these begging the question fallacies. So I can, or do, say, well, orbits is a begging the question fallacy. Don't say if Earth's a sphere at the centre of this solar system, then blah, blah, blah. You're just assuming the thing you're trying to prove. However, I can take that one step further like 10th Man's done and say the entire model is based on R. And that's been debunked. The entire model is based on Earth having a physical spherical surface with a physical spherical obstruction that gives you the R value in the first instance, I might add. So that's been debunked. End of all presuppositional orbits, all presuppositional, what are we talking about now? Eclipses? I've lost track of what we're actually talking about now. Anthony was fighting hard. I've already forgotten.
Well, I agree with Nicotine. Now, there's nothing wrong. I just thought we were having a little bit of fun teasing it higher up, allowing a little bit of supposition, but still destroying it that actually the proof isn't.
Yeah, that's what we were doing, yeah.
No, I don't allow that.
You can chop them up quickly.
No, well, you might be, but I don't allow that here.
Nathan wasn't having fun with that.
No, I don't allow
His blood pressure started to rise.
You just give them ideas.
Guys, can I share a quick story?
You can, but I just want to make my point because you're all chuckling at it. Like, demeaning it like it's not important. Well, the monster will come out. Don't beg the question here. See, that stunned them all to silence, didn't it, audience? No chuckling now, huh? No. Yeah, you don't beg the question.
But please let us beg the question.
There's an exception. The only one that gets a pat on the head is 10th Man. Because you're allowed to beg the question when you point out that A, it's begging the question, and then even if you beg the question, it's debunked by the Black Swan. That'll get you a tap on the head. Kudos, 10th Man.
So let me share this, guys. I'll be as brief as I can to be concise. Watching a movie the other night with the missus, and literally it was we all know what the Stockholm syndrome is. It's where your captor kidnaps you and then you start to feel feelings for that captor over time. So that would be like education. If you spent time, money and effort getting into, I don't know, physics or whatever, you can imagine how you don't want to form, like you don't want to realize that physics isn't actually on your side if you think you're on a sphere. So Stockholm syndrome is often used as a way to describe how blurters don't want to stand against their own religion because the reality is like Stockholm syndrome is the comforting lie. Does anybody know what folie à deux is?
Yeah, two people involved in the same fantasy at the same time.
Right, two people involved. Right, so the film was basically about a child that had gone missing that never existed. The child was actually dead, but the two parents were living the delusion that the child was still with them and gone missing, even though the child was dead some time ago in an accident. But they were living this delusion, and they had the police looking for this child and all that. And in the end, the plot twist was that the child never even existed in the first place. They were both suffering from folie à deux. That's what happens when blurters come in. Once they realize that their education is being challenged and Stockholm syndrome takes over that education aspect, when another blurter comes in to hold, I always say it's holding each other's willy, but actually I realized that the correct phraseology is folie à deux. They both live in the same delusion together as though it's a reality. That's what they're all suffering with, folie à deux. It's a brilliant phrase.
What was the name of the movie?
I think it was called Kidnapped. I'll check it on it's on Netflix at the minute. I'll check it and come back to you in 2 minutes.
It's often used as a criminal term.
Folie à deux.
Yeah, it's a criminal term that will be described when you have multiple assailants doing the same thing at the same time because they suffer the same delusion. Anyway, any evidence of the distance to the sun?
What is the sun?
It's over there. It's so bright and nice.
No.
Yeah, but isn't it amazing how basically the light rays come in all parallel and then as soon as they hit the Earth, they diverge off?
So someone hits the dimmer on the sun and they start converging and shit.
Yeah,
Depending on which argument you want, and then you can pick and
no.
choose, like multiple choice.
You just don't understand. Sorry, but
Oh, I just don't understand. Yes.
yeah, you don't understand what I'm trying to say here.
Can't say it,
Like the sun is very far away, it comes all parallel, and then as soon as it reaches the Earth and starts to enter the atmosphere at basically moon distance, because the moon is in the Earth's atmosphere, that's when it starts to suddenly diverge.
Yeah, I do understand. That's why I said somebody hit at that point. Somebody hits the dimmer, and then the light rays that were parallel are now converging, and that's how we see it like that.
Yes.
The name of the film was called
I got
The Hijack.
Arwin, that was brilliant.
I got it, hijack.
Sneak
I don't know what
that
my
bit of
rump was
rhetoric
going
of
back and
atmosphere in there with the nobody challenged it. Well done.
Because I wanted to speak to Chocolate's point, but I'm waiting for Arwin to simmer down.
I was just wondering, like, why did Rumpus basically not utilize my argument and started just outright double speaking, claiming two different things instead of actually giving it some shape?
No, what he
Like
did was the usual Rumpus trick. So he disclaims the problem openly. Well, you pick which one. So you're saying, oh, okay, that's the problem we're identifying. The fact that you've got a choice in the matter is completely nonsensical. But he obviously confesses to the problem immediately and then starts justifying the problem. Well, depending on the circumstances you pick, that gets highlighted as not a reasonable way to decide how light behaves. So what he then did, which is what I was going to say to Chocolate, is he actually blamed it on 10th Man. So what Rumpus did was said, no, he's picking which circumstances we discuss. And obviously the diagram that's appropriate will be the one that we'll use in that circumstance. But it's him. He's the one picking. Right?
Yeah.
Calls you a moron, then cries for your help.
Couldn't turn off public. I can't turn it onto public. I don't know how to do it. Maybe if you schedule a show, you can change it. But I'm struggling to turn on public chat. So I've had to change the title to not public chant because it's members only. But there we go. I can't figure out how to turn it off, which is annoying as I've tried 2 or 3 times. Just click the off button and then save and you'd think it would work, but obviously not. So my apologies for anyone who was hoping to chant publicly. You can't. Members only.
I got something, by the way, concerning the distance of the sun. I just realized it's pretty weird, if the sun rays would come in parallel up until the atmosphere, then how could you ever use any of it to basically determine the distance other than pathway derived calculations of orbits through the planets in the sun? It's going to be very difficult because it's always, look, when light is parallel, it always kind of looks the same distance because it's all parallel coming towards you. So, right?
Same orbits we can't account for in the 3D world.
Right. No, I'm just saying that the only thing you get to go by then is just the Venus size processing and all that, and then just cross-referencing it with the orbital mechanics of all the planets in the solar system.
Sorry, you can't have orbital mechanics without a radius.
Orbit.
Who said that? Yes, whoever said that. Yes, correct. Do you want to just repeat that? Was it
Elijah said that. Give him my goddamn credit.
Yeah. Can you repeat it, please?
No.
No. Can you repeat it?
I said that. You can't have orbital mechanics without a radius.
That's correct.
Yeah, we were
Look at that diagram
crap.
from the book. They talk
Something about a
parallax,
radius,
right? They have
although
to
orbits
presuppose
do have
orbit
radii.
to do
Hold on,
that.
I had a topic I want to talk about. Go ahead, Crack Villain. Sorry, Arwin.
Well, look at I've posted it in the live stream in Discord. It talks about parallax, right? So they're talking about a nearby star in relation to the orbit around the sun as the center of our solar system. Well, they have to presuppose sphericity of the Earth. They have to presuppose orbit. They have to presuppose axial rotation, curvature. Then they have to presuppose that you can even measure parallax using this system, right, behind an object in the frame of reference of the stars, behind the nearby star, in conjunction to those things they presupposed and reified all those different things in a row. What a clusterfuck.
Yeah, it's such a pile of nonsense, all assumed and all debunked. As you were listing them off, I think, yeah, that's debunked. All debunked.
I just posted it.
I had some ballers arguing the other day that you can measure the distance to the sun using radio waves, radar.
If you
And
say
this
so.
is what this is referring to.
Yeah.
Shall I read it? If
If
you
you want,
hold
if you
your
like.
finger in front of you and look at it. Oh, sorry, I'm receiving a call.
It's
Sorry.
okay. We'll rattle our way through housekeeping. We might come back to it because I think Anthony will probably have something to add in terms of measuring distance to celestial objects with radar. Oh, go on. Whoever that is.
I'm back.
We
I had a question. Or somebody else talking?
Go ahead, Owen.
Yeah, I had a question about the orbital mechanics. Damn it, I lost it. Never mind. I'll get back when
What's
I
an orbit?
All right, but let me
You can't have it without R.
Oh, right. I remember again. Like, orbital mechanics are originally kind of based on Newtonian mechanics, right? Not that he claimed the hypothesis, but it's based on those mechanics sets, right? Orbital mechanics? Right? Newtonian principles?
Oh, you got Kepler. But carry on. What's your point?
Well, I was just thinking that orbital mechanics doesn't apply to Mercury, if that were the case. So what is Mercury doing then, if not abiding by orbital mechanics, which is based on Newtonian, right?
Not in a
Was
bloody
revealed
orbit.
to us.
Well, that's the answer, isn't it? It's not in an orbit. It moves across the sky in the same basic path as the sun and the moon. They're all moving in sync. There's no parallax with any of them. So the presupposition that we're falling around that light is absolutely outrageous. And the assumption that everything else is in an orbital motion also is outrageous. The fact that bits of it don't work when they try and mathematically calculate it in that manner doesn't surprise me. But yeah, the fact they can't calculate Mercury correctly in 3D space, and suddenly they have to transpose in pseudo-Ramonian 4 space to try and back calculate it. You know, who cares? None of this is real. We're not experiencing orbits.
But can you even calculate an orbit in Einsteinian mechanics?
To
Or-
Pal Broder for the super chat. Really appreciate the
what's
support,
an
Pal
orbit
Broder.
again?
Thank you very much.
Sugar-free chewing gum.
Can they demonstrate an orbit on a small scale?
Come on, I'm not asking whether it is real or not. I'm asking how it works. Like,
little
is there even an Einstein gravity-based orbital mechanics that can be calculated? Does it exist, or is it all
Neil's got a
still
perfectly reasonable
Newtonian?
question that nobody's answering. Maybe Adam. Neil, can you ask that question directly to Adam?
I'm saying in a vacuum chamber on a small scale with marbles, can you demonstrate orbits?
I think the Rumpus would admit, and Einsteinian, no, it's not doable. That's the purpose. You can't solve for more than one body, can you? Which would be the thing you're trying to calculate. One thing orbiting another would require that. So isn't that what the admission of Einstein is? It's not solvable for more than one. So no, you couldn't.
Okay, so orbits cannot be expressed in pseudo-Ramonian 4 space, basically. So if Mercury is not abiding by orbital mechanics, then what is it doing?
Who cares? It's
What
not
is it doing
orbiting.
around the sun?
Who
What
cares?
is
Who
that thing
cares?
that it is doing?
What it does, what you watch it do, that's what it's doing. But in the meantime, we're not falling around the sun, and all of these planets aren't falling around the sun in a solar system where the sun is at the center. None of that's true. It's all nonsense.
So what did they do? They just trace the path and they kind of draw a line of Mercury, how it's supposed to be going by the sun, because they can't calculate it.
You're
So how does
you're
it
just-
no,
this-
I'm
this is
just
how they do it,
pointing out
Owen.
a flaw in the model from a baller's perspective here. This is serious. Like, what do they
Right,
do
Owen,
with
listen to this.
Mercury?
Right.
Yeah,
So,
that's why we
when
had
they
a
talk
good
about
old time when
parallax-
Rumpus came and told us we can't account for the orbit of Mercury
Yeah,
in
we
the
already
3D
know this,
world
but
that
Owen's-
we freaking live in.
Yes, that's true, Chocolate, and Darwin's just dragging it out and I don't blame him. But go ahead, crack villain.
Right, so they're saying this is really funny that they said this, because remember the example with the car where you were using it to explain to them what perspective is. They're talking about a similar type thing, which is quite funny. If you hold your finger in front of you and look at it first with just your left eye, and then with your right eye, your finger shifts positions against the background. Right, the closer your finger is, the bigger the shift. The shift is a measure of the distance between finger and eye. This effect is known as parallax, and on a much grander scale, it can be used to calculate the distance of nearby stars. As the Earth orbits around the Sun, a star will appear to move slightly against the background of more distant stars This produces a parallax angle which can be used to measure the distance of the star from the Earth. Background stars, because they are so far away from the Earth, they appear not to move.
That's doublespeak nonsense. You'd actually have some measurable parallax, and there isn't any.
That was they do, they don't.
They do, they don't, exactly. That's speaking out of both sides of their mouth, isn't it?
Yes.
I did hear a
See,
really
that
good
was
point the
science
other day to do with the moon. The moon's obviously our closest celestial body, and it orbits the Earth on their model. Yet when you look at time-lapse photography that's got the star trails with the moon in it, you can see that the moon and the stars are moving at the same rate. Now, I appreciate and I accept that there are points where occlusion of stars by the moon happens. But on their model, if the moon is moving, the stars should be basically stationary in the background, because basically that would be showing stellar parallax with the moon relative to the stars orbiting the Earth. But in real world, there is no moon stellar parallax between the moon and the stars in the background. They move at the same rate, and that's not possible. Anybody disagree with that?
No, I don't disagree with that. It should be glaring, obvious parallax. It should be all moving in all sorts of different directions because they're all located in physically different positions in their model, right?
Yeah, but
well, therefore we'd have
with
lots
respect
of
to the moon
parallax.
and the stars.
The stuff far away would move very slowly. The stuff in the near foreground would move a bit quicker. The stuff that's supposed to be closest to us, in your example, the moon, would move at the fastest rate.
Yeah, so no way the moon and the stars would move at the same rate. Plus, if you're filming them from the inertial reference frame, they shouldn't move at all.
Yeah.
All the Bible literally says they do.
Yeah, we have.
But you can't see it. Excellent.
That was the
there, Paula.
Mr. Sensible, wasn't it? Mr. Sensible's one.
Which gaff of that? Which gaff are you talking about specifically?
Wasn't that? Was it Mr. Sensible with Mitchell from Australia, where Mitchell showed the stars shouldn't be rotating, and then he said, well, they would be, and then he gave an explanation for why. But Chocolates just said then that they shouldn't be moving at all, and I tend to agree with that. But there was that NASA footage. I can't remember what the footage was now, but it was showing star trails from the ISS. And there shouldn't, as far as I'm aware, there shouldn't be star trails from the ISS. And I agree with Chocolate. Nobody remember this?
No, I remember it. I commented on it because Mitchell showed it, and he showed that in that overlay, because there's no way that image could be taken from the ISS, number one. Number two was an overlay, because at the bottom of that picture where it met the presupposed globe underneath, you see airplane flights streaking. So that was an overlay. That was a trick of photography.
I have devised a new housekeeping question.
All right, here we go.
Any mathematical evidence for the orbit of Mercury?
Why? Why do I care? Go to a maths forum to ask that question.
I'd like to comment before we get off the
It is a good question, though, because they don't have any math. So in their field where they believe reality resides, they don't have an answer. How about that one? Come on,
Take it
guys.
to a math forum.
Come on, man.
Any evidence of Earth radiant?
I feel you. I feel you.
I was going to finish up on the sun before you went there.
Oh, okay, go ahead, 10th.
Yeah, back to Rumpus the other day. I said on the show there's no refraction at the zenith position. He came on and he said there's absolutely no refraction when it's vertical at the zenith position, agreeing with me. But he made it sound like he was opposing me. So yes, that's why you don't have a shadow cast when it's directly above you. It says it moves away and creates an angle is the shadows cast, right? So then he said that the light rays coming in from that sun that we're still talking about are not parallel. Well, then the sun cannot be 93 million miles away, Rumpus, because you need it to come parallel. You need the vast distance so that light doesn't come in.
You just make stuff up. If something has angular size,
like a genie, isn't he?
If something has angular size, if something has angular size, therefore the light rays are not coming into you parallel.
We always get everything right, and we do understand.
The sun, 0.5 degrees angular
can I finish
size,
this statement before you challenge
are 0.5 degrees in angle.
May I finish the statement before you challenge it? Instead of cutting
Rumpus,
me off.
cool your jets, man. Cool your jets.
Rumpus,
Okay, go ahead.
before I go, let me just stop here and say, did you
Go ahead.
say there's no refraction when the sun is directly above you zenith position? Yes or no?
I did say that, yes.
Thank you. Then we're in agreement there. It's a rarity, but we are. Okay. Did you also say that light coming in from the sun does not hit the earth in parallel rays?
Correct.
Thank you. Welcome to Flat Earth. He's all yours, boys.
You've just confirmed the global Earth.
Really? You know how many arguments, globe arguments you just debunked by saying the sun rays aren't parallel?
I haven't debunked any. What global argument have I debunked by telling you that
What
the
you
rays,
mean?
the rays from the
Isn't
sun?
that the assumption that
from,
the
my God,
rays
who's
come in
echoing?
parallel?
Someone's echoing.
What do you
The
think? We
rays
just
from the
started
sun
this like
have
2 days ago.
from one side of the other. There are some parallel rays from the sun, but there are also rays from the sun from each edge.
Oh, now
for
there's
instance,
some.
are separated by 0.5 degrees.
Rumpus, you know, with the umbra and penumbra, if the umbra or penumbra is receiving light, then it can't be a shadow, right? Because it's receiving light.
Well, if I was allowed to draw you a diagram, or there was one actually, was it 10th Man was showing one the other time, shows you how in the umbra there is no light reaching it from the sun, but in the penumbra different amounts are. So if you're near the umbra in the penumbra, so if you're right close to the umbra, then you'll only be able to see a little bit of the sun. But as you get further and further out into the penumbra, you'll see more and more of the sun. Just like if you hold a ping pong ball in front of your face, and then the object behind it, if you move your head to the left or to the right, you'll be able to see more or less of the object behind it, depending on how much it's obscuring your view. So it's the same is true of any penumbra, and this because it has
But if the sun rays are coming into the Earth parallel because from the sun, is that right?
I missed the
That
start of your
rays are coming in
sentence because you
parallel.
started it in the middle of mine. I didn't hear the start of your sentence because you interrupted me.
Can you just confirm? Are the sun rays coming in parallel or not?
No, they're not parallel. They're close to parallel, but they're not parallel. That's why it has an angular size, 0.5 degrees.
So at 93 million miles, and the size they tell us that it is, our whole horizon in 180 degrees should be basically parallel light, correct?
What? If you're
The
looking
size
at
of the sun
horizon,
at 93 million miles away dwarfs the Earth on your model, correct?
Sorry,
If it's only 0.5 degrees off parallel, then what we would see in a picture would have parallel light coming in.
Yeah, across the whole horizon, not just from a local light source. It would be the whole horizon.
Right, the sun has an angular size of 0.5 degrees. That means the light from one end...
0.5 degrees from 93 million miles away.
Let me just finish the sentence. That means that the light from the right-hand side of the sun, for instance, is different to the light from the left-hand side of the sun by 0.5 degrees. So those 2 points on the sun, the light reaching us has a different angle.
Okay, but would you agree that the size of the sun, they tell us, is massive compared to the size of the Earth? Relatively speaking, is tiny, correct?
Correct.
So, and when the light rays travel from the sun, from the top of the sun to the bottom, and from the east or the one side to the other, all those light rays are going to dwarf all of the side of the Earth that's touching it, that's facing it, correct?
So I didn't understand any of that. It was just dwarf. What's dwarfing what? There's just light coming from the sun.
Because of the relative size of the sun, all of the rays that come from the top, the bottom, the left, or the right of the sun's surface, by the time they get to the Earth, it would give a complete coverage of the whole of the side of the Earth, correct?
Yes, light. Yes, the side of the Earth facing the sun, just like if you hold a tennis ball up against a torch, half the tennis ball would be illuminated, and half the Earth is illuminated by the sun.
And because of the size, all the angular ones that you tell us creates the penumbra and the umbra are actually receiving light from the sun, aren't they? They're not in the shade because they're receiving angled light from the sun, according to you, right?
Hold on, the definition is the umbra. Hold on, the definition of the umbra is there's no light, so it's like being in an eclipse. If you put in a full lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, sorry. There's no the umbra, which is where you have a complete solar eclipse. There is no light coming directly from the. Obviously, it gets bounced off the atmosphere, so there's a sort of little bit of indirect light. But fundamentally, there is no direct light from the sun to a point that's being subjected to a solar eclipse.
I understand. Do you have any evidence that shows that Umbra and
the moon is also
Penumbra from anywhere credible?
The moon is also the moon is also 0.5 degrees angular size. So that means it can completely, most of the time, sometimes it varies in size slightly, but fundamentally it's the same size as the sun. So obviously if it gets in front, they're both the same angular size, even though the sun is 400 times further away.
No, it isn't.
They have the same angular size.
That's your assumption.
So you are in the umbra.
No, it isn't. In your model, it is. In reality, you have no idea.
It is.
I was going to say, in reality, Rumpus, we should be able to demonstrate that.
Radar beams off it.
Do you know, or do you have any evidence for
Hold on, Anthony. Rumpus is claiming they bounce radio waves off it to know the distance.
So when you get a chance,
hold on,
we know
absolutely
exactly how far away the sun is, to the meter.
How do they do it?
Really?
How did they do it with radar? With radio waves? Did you say? How did they do it?
Yeah, effectively radio rate. It's like similar principle with radar, but it's using radio waves. You bounce them off the sun, you get a reflection back, and say, "Oh, how long did that take?" And therefore, you know how far it is away. And of course,
that's bullshit, Mr. Moore. Not 5.
The complete moron has turned up.
Not 0.5, right? Not 0.5 from angular size. What does angular size mean?
It's not the angle size presented to you, the subtended to you by an object you're looking
at. It means not actual size. You dump it.
No, I didn't say it did, you stupid
moron. You have an angle from a not actual size, you dumbass.
When did I say it represented
you
the
said
size?
not 0.5, and the moon is not 0.5. Those are not actual sizes,
or you can't even remember. You can't even remember what I said. You're just an utter moron, aren't you?
Sorry, guys. Both you, calm down a second, please. Both you, Rumpus, QE, both you, please. Hello. So the objection is raised, Rumpus. It's the same objection I raised. That you're extrapolating out actual distances from not actual sizes, and you've just launched into a load of ad homs.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Listen, try listening carefully.
Listen, I don't need to listen to you.
Listen,
You're
moron.
A fucking moron.
Listen, moron.
Listen, moron. You're the dumbest fucker in here.
Calm down.
Can I just ask one question? Rumpus, you stated earlier that we look at the sun and it takes up an angular size in the sky of 0.5 degrees, which is where we're deriving the maths from. The 0.5 degrees in the sky, is that actual or apparent size of the sun?
It's the apparent size. It's an angular size, which is an apparent size.
Okay.
From a distance, right?
At no point did I say I was using the angular size of the sun to work out the distance to it.
So
no, I didn't, you moron. I said the distance of the sun, I said, was done by radar.
You're not.
Okay, stop. Everyone stop.
Shut up.
It's done by radar. How do they do it? What do they do? What's the process?
They send a radio beam in the direction of the sun. They put a code in there, and then they wait for the return signal. And they say, "Oh, look, it took this time, and therefore we know the distance to it." There are many other ways. I mean, transit beam.
Bear with me, Rumpus. Just one claim at a time. Can everyone stop?
Many means.
Can everyone stop? I don't need to know more than that. Thank you. Are you going to verbal diary your way past it? Okay, so you're saying they send a radio signal into the sky towards the sun. Now, you're saying based on the timing that they expect, but that timing is also based on an assumption of a radius for Earth. That's where they get the timing.
No, it's not.
I haven't quite finished, coward.
No basis
haven't I quite finished, coward? Are you scared of the rebuttal?
Well, you made a stupid statement.
Are you scared of the rebuttal?
You just made a stupid, unfounded statement. You just made up.
Really? Like the air is not the atmosphere. The second law doesn't apply to the Earth. You mean statements like that?
Sorry.
Is that what you mean?
Hello, the timing that you gave...
It's the Earth.
The timing for the return signal is based on the distances... coward, rebuttal, coming your way. Coward. So, the timing for the return signal is based on the radius value and the distances given to you by an application of Kepler's third law of interplanetary motion and an assumption of the R value. Coward, rebuttal, coming your way, coward. Globies, this is what you got. You got coward. He's going to interrupt the rebuttal, hasn't he? What a coward. Yeah, it's because it's going to get annihilated here, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't have to like it, but he can squirm and wriggle through it. So, your distances for the return signal, third attempt, with Rumpus the coward trying to interrupt it. For you, the audience, because he doesn't want you to know this, he needs it to be obfuscated, because it's where his lie unfolds. So you will be assuming Earth with a radius value, 3959. You will also be assuming that Venus has the same R value as Earth, and you will be applying Kepler's third law to give you the distances that you estimate the return signal will come within.
Everything you just said was wrong, and no part of the Venus, size of the Earth compared to Venus, is any part of this radar system. Idiot. You are an absolute moron.
You know what? No, not the radar system. You didn't listen. Clearly you were talking through it entirely. So you didn't actually listen to the part where I said the timing you've got for the estimated return signal, the timing you've got from those values.
Venus plays no role in what I just described. You're mixing it up with... There are 3 ways that you can work out the distance to the sun.
You've already given me one, radar return signal, and you've got an estimated time for the return signal, and it's based on what I just detailed. An assumption of R for Earth, an application of Kepler's third law, an assumption that Venus has the same size to give you the scaling values. And that is what gives you the distances to estimate the return signal time. That is being used. You're a liar if you deny it.
You are... I mean, I didn't think you were this stupid, actually.
So the timing doesn't come from the heliocentric distances, then? The timing doesn't come from those estimations within the heliocentric model? You're saying that's not where you get the estimated return time?
No. You're
a moron. How do you know, Rumpus, during the stream, when you're looking at the return data, which time period should you analyse to get the return signal? How do you know you should be looking at that time frame? What are you using? You're going to use the speed, aren't you? And
you put code,
presupposed distance.
You put
so
time
you know
code
which
in
area
the
to look at.
signal, so
Time
you know.
No, Rumpus. Wait there a second. You need to stop doing this. You're on about pulse modulated radar. Okay? Saw pulse modulated radar.
Well, it's not actually using radar.
Okay. Well, what is it? No, it actually. Right, radio signal. What is radar?
Can we not stray off what I asked? I asked where you get the timing. You're going to estimate within a time frame. Adam's clarified what I'm asking. Within a certain time frame, you're going to see a return signal. Well, where'd you get the estimation for the time frame that you should see the return signal within?
You don't need an estimation.
Yes, please.
You don't need
What's your time code? What's your time code, dude?
You put a code in the signal and you wait for the
Don't tell me a code. I want to hear what your time code is.
Be quiet. Stop interrupting. So you send off a code in your signal, and when you get that same code back, you know that it's the return of the one you sent. You then take the time between sending it and receiving it, and then that gives you the distance to the thing that bounced off.
Really?
And that's the sun. My God.
Really? The speed of light?
Yes.
Really?
But wait, speed of light has changed how many times?
Hold on, Stacy. What's the one-way speed of light?
It's measured over 2.
It's not, two-way speed. You don't have a one-way speed of light.
Doesn't matter. It's still correct.
Oh, yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
You don't know the speed of light, son.
Oh, we know it exactly.
No, you don't.
Can you tell?
Yes, we do.
You know the average. Shut the fuck up. You know the average two-way speed. You don't know the one-way speed of light because it's a begging the question fallacy. It's just a convention. Einstein told you, but you won't listen to him because you're delusional. Mr. Air is not the atmosphere. Second law doesn't apply to the earth, and we just made up natural law.
And guess what? It goes to the sun and back.
Yeah.
So it does do the two-way, you moron.
How does it get to the sun? What medium does it go through?
The space.
Space is what?
Vacuum.
Space is vacuum, nearly.
Oh, it's a vacuum. Second law of thermodynamics violation.
No, it's not. Not at all.
You've got this is such a train wreck. You're so delusional.
The fact you deny gravity.
How do you have gas pressure without a container?
By denying gravity, you are.
How do you have a gas pressure?
Hold on, let's stop. This is going too quickly. Stop. Hello. So you said, how do you have gas pressure without a container? Rumpus's reply was gravity.
Yep.
Gravity, yeah. If we had gravity,
what's gravity?
Then it would never friggin' rain.
Yes, it would.
What's gravity?
No, it wouldn't.
Hold on, hold on. Guys, hello. Hello.
If I throw a ball up in the air, it goes up to a height.
That wasn't the rebuttal.
Just like gas
Rumpus,
molecules.
you're not listening to the
gas
rebuttal.
Molecules aren't
guys,
solid,
hello. Can I get
dumbass.
control again? QE and Rumpus, please.
Molecule
QE and Rumpus, please. The rebuttal you've received, Rumpus, is if gravity, a downward vector 9.8 meters per second, we wouldn't have gas going up to the sky to form clouds. That's what you've had. Rumpus, that's what he's rebutted you with in terms of your claim of gravity.
Right, and I'm going to answer him. If I throw a ball up into the air...
False equivalence fallacy.
Listen. If I
It's a false equivalence fallacy, that's correct. So he's talking about something that has bonds. That would be a solid, a ball.
Yeah, and the gas molecule...
Yeah, so you're as thick as Thunderfoot, clown. Gases aren't bonded. They are not the same as solids. Gases expand in all directions. You're thick. Are you as stupid as PhD Thunderfoot?
Gases are solids now. Thank you.
Are you as stupid as Thunderfoot, clown?
They are made of solid entities called atoms, you moron.
Gases are solids.
All right, and these atoms... Hold on, let's get clarity. Let's see if he's stupid. Let's see if he's as dumb as Thunderfoot. If he can tolerate it, or will he just filibuster the entire time? I'd like a few moments with Rumpus.
Let me finish my sentence, then.
Suck on my balls. You're getting teabagged again, Rumpus. We're going to find out comparatively if you're as thick as Thunderfoot. Whoever's muting Rumpus,
Just like
please
a bouncy
stop.
ball. So bouncy balls and atoms are entirely analogous, except for the fact that bouncy balls aren't elastic.
Stop! I just want to ask a question. Guys, hello. I just want to ask a question. If they're analogous... Hello? If they're analogous...
Hello?
Do atoms, gas, have intermolecular bonds as solids do?
Well, the constituent of an atom is quarks. The constituent of a bouncy ball...
Shut the hell up. That's not what he asked you. He said intermolecular bonds. You don't even know what he's talking about. You're so stupid.
It doesn't matter. The point is...
It does matter.
Sorry, Huey, I'd just like to ask him one more time, see if he's a coward and says it doesn't matter. Hand waves the argument. Can you stop muting him, whoever's muting him? No.
Made of the behavior of a bouncy ball is analogous to the behavior of an atom.
Because it has intermolecular bonds. Because it has intermolecular bonds, correct?
What the ball is made of.
You're not listening. You coward. Coward. He knows he's getting roasted. Talk through me non-stop, coward, while I have a good laugh.
Well, you're
at you.
talking through me.
Yeah, I know I am. While I say intermolecular bonds to make them comparable. Intermolecular bonds. Are you as dumb as Thunderfoot?
Because we're talking about the behavior of the ball and the behavior of the atom are analogous. It doesn't matter what the inside of an atom is made of. It doesn't matter what the inside of a ball is made of. The point is the behavior of the ball and the atom are similar.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay, and can you stop
Are we
muting
really
him?
trying to
He's
prove
telling
the
us
Earth
they're
is a
similar.
bouncy ball?
And, guys,
For fuck's
I've
sake,
got
Rumpus.
4 people talking. I just want Rumpus to say, no, it doesn't matter that they haven't got intermolecular bonds in the gas and they have in a ball. Tell us again for the audience that my question, my pertinent question, is unimportant.
Right,
Hand wave it for me.
Are you talking about the intermolecular bonds within a gas, or are you talking about the ball's intermolecular bonds? I wasn't quite sure which you're referring to.
Has a gas, like a ball, got intermolecular bonds? It's really simple.
It doesn't have intermolecular bonds. That's what makes it a gas.
So they're not comparable then. So it's not comparable as immediately identified by Quantum Eraser. False analogy.
There are no interball forces either. There's
Sorry,
no
you just made that
force.
up.
There's no intermolecular force.
Yeah,
They're
that's
entirely
nice.
analogous.
So they're not comparable.
So let's try this again. They are
they're not
entirely
comparable.
Let's try again. You're saying
They're not
that
comparable.
because a gas doesn't have intermolecular
They're not comparable.
bonds,
One has. They're not comparable. You seem to be filibustering. What a coward. Maybe if you talk non-stop, the audience will think you've won. Maybe if you talk non-stop, audience will think you've won. Maybe. No, you've lost, coward. They're not comparable. One's got intermolecular bonds, the other hasn't. Gases don't have intermolecular bonds, and bouncy balls do. Therefore, when bonded, more dense than the outer coward. Lost badly. Oh, man, you must really enjoy getting teabagged. Maybe squirm for me some more, Fundy. Yeah, they're not comparable.
The bouncy balls.
They're not comparable. QE immediately identified this as false comparison. Not comparable. One has intermolecular bonds. And Rumpus is saying it's unimportant. No, they're not comparable because one has intermolecular bonds. That would be a solid passing through a gas. In the case of rain, for example, yeah, the liquid has intermolecular bonds. The gases, again, exampled by Quantum Eraser. If your gravity force that applies to things with intermolecular bonds when travelling through air, which is expanding in all directions, not down, go boom, boom, like bouncy balls. but you seem to be as thick as PhD Thunderfoot Clown to assert that gas go down, go boom boom, like solid, bonded, that would be intermolecular bonds, bouncy balls. Gas does not go back down, go boom boom like solid, bonded bouncy balls, Clown.
There are no bonds between the bouncy balls, are there, Nathan?
Yes, intermolecular bonds. Yes, a solid, bonded bouncy ball has intermolecular bonds. Therefore, is more dense than the air it passes through. However, the air itself that it is passing through expands in all directions, does not go down, go boom boom, because it has no intermolecular bonds.
Making an analogy between the ball and an atom, and there's no intermolecular...
And they're not comparable. That's been pointed out. You squirm for me. I really enjoy it. Yeah, they're not comparable, as immediately pointed out, and you're just squirming non-stop.
He's making a comparison between a ball and an atom when balls are made of atoms. That's a fallacy. You understand that?
Ridiculous.
That's a fallacy of division. You numpty. You
The
said you're
behaviour of
saying
the
that.
balls
You're
is
saying,
analogous
shut
to the
up.
behaviour of...
Shut up. You said earlier that gases are solids. We got you. I can't wait till this comes out again. Gases are solids, Rumpus, right?
I mean, you're now lying, or you're too stupid to listen
Are
to what I say.
gases solids?
They're made up of solid entities, you moron.
Oh, yeah, gases are solids. Thank you. Let's try it again. Are gases solids?
No, they're not solid. They're made
You
of solid
said earlier
things.
they were.
No, I didn't. You
Yes,
didn't listen
you
because you're a
did.
moron.
Yeah,
no, I
fuck
didn't.
You did.
I know he did.
Rumpus, you know I don't like that, but I'm going to call you out. You said it straight up.
Can everyone shut up? I can't hear Rumpus. I can't believe I'm saying this. Everyone else shut up.
That are analogous to bouncy balls.
That have intermolecular
So
bonds.
are atoms solid?
Yes, atoms are solid, yes. In effect. They are.
In effect, effectively.
Well,
You're
in
effectively a
effect,
What their
you
effect is solid. Wait, Rumpus, is their effect solid? Is the cause of their effect also solid? Or physical?
So actually, in actual fact, although they appear solid, because for instance, when you press your finger against something solid, you're actually...
Shut up.
Someone shutting up.
I've never heard balls so much in my entire life.
Let's try this. So when you press your finger against something...
I'm going to press your finger against something. You're going to press your finger against the rubber room after they take you there, after your horse and elephant tranquilized. You should be institutionalized, son. That's how stupid you are. Thanks for coming.
The electrons in your finger...
The electrons in my finger, right? Yeah.
Wow, Rumpus, wow.
By the electrons...
Sure.
By the electrons in the things you're pressing.
Electrons in the fingers, and gases are solids.
Now, atoms actually...
Atoms now, right, sure, atoms do it.
Sorry, just...
How do you have rain, that is the water cycle, that is water evaporation with gravity?
Let me just finish off. There is space in atoms.
It's not my question. I asked you, how do you have evaporation, that is gas molecules, water vapor, rising in the face of gravity, and then it rains? How do you have that with gravity?
I will answer that when I've finished answering my previous question.
No, you won't.
You don't. Because if gas go down, go boom boom, like solid, bonded, bouncy balls, then they wouldn't be going up to form the clouds, because that flies in the face of a downward vector at 9.8 meters per second. They're not going down, they're going up.
I've got an answer here which even you will understand. If I throw a ball up, what's it being...
Sorry, a ball isn't gas. Ball has intermolecular bonds and is more dense than the air that it's going to be passing through. That air might even have some unbonded water molecules in it that are on their way up.
If I throw a ball up in the air, Nathan, where's the acceleration on?
Does gas, water, vapor in this example, go down? If I boil a kettle, does the gas go down?
If I throw a ball up, Nathan...
Simple yes or no question. Let's see if the fundamentalist religious zealot can answer this question, right? This is a question that literally my 3-year-old can answer. Does the gas coming out of my kettle go down like solid bonded bouncy balls, a la
If I throw
Thunderfoot
something
Clown?
up, Nathan, what's the acceleration on?
Okay, if I throw up some gas particles out the spout of my kettle, will they go down like solid bonded bouncy balls, like Thunderfoot Clown PhD asserted?
Right, so do you understand that going up, the velocity, that actually it's being deaccelerated, it's accelerated downward. So even though it's going up, it's being accelerated down.
Even though it's going up, it's accelerating downward.
I want to hear this. Shut up.
Wow.
Sorry. My question again. Does the gas out of my kettle go down? Yes or no?
Goes in all directions, but it's still being accelerated down.
So
it's all directions, but it's going down.
Sorry. So hold on. No. Hold on. So it starts on the ground, and there is. Sorry. Bear with me. I'm confused. I'm confused, Rumpus. Your stupid answer confused me. It starts off on the ground. It can't go any more down. In fact, the only way is up. Rumpus, it's starting on the ground. It can't go down. Can't go down.
Understand this?
Are you thick? You're not listening. You're not hearing me on FM. It's already as down as it can be when it's in the kettle. Yeah, it's on the ground. It can't go any more down. The only way is up.
Oh, just come on. I'm really interested in Rumpus's gas laws. Let's hear them.
The problem we've got for the audience's benefit, right? Rumpus is so ingrained in fundamentalist religious zealotry and belief in gravity that when asked if the gas coming out of the spout of the kettle goes down, he cannot answer in the same way a 3-year-old could answer, which is, no, it goes up, right? The reason he can't say that is because the moment he concedes that gas does not go down, go boom, boom, like solid bonded bouncy balls poured into a fish tank, he flies in the face of gravity a claim that gas does go down, go boom, boom. But it doesn't. Gas does not go down, go boom, boom, like solid bonded bouncy balls.
Do you understand that you can be going up but being accelerated down? Do you understand that concept?
Sorry, do I understand that when going up, I'm going down? No, because that's a contradiction in terms.
In acceleration. Do you understand that you can be going
Do
up?
you understand?
I just need an answer to my question. It's a yes or no closed question. Does the gas coming out my kettle go down?
Do you understand that you can be going up?
Doesn't seem like I'm getting an answer. This is what religious zealotry does to you. When asked a simple question that a 3-year-old could answer, does the gas coming out of a kettle go down? He can't answer.
If you answered my question, you'd understand.
Oh, it's my question to be answered, is it? No. I'm asking you a simple question that literally a 3-year-old toddler could answer. Does the gas out of a kettle go down, go boom, boom, like solid bonded bouncy balls? The answer's no, but you don't seem to want to say no.
With a small explanation, and that is you need to understand.
I need to understand something. When asking a question, does the gas out of a kettle go down, go boom, boom, like asserted by a PhD clown called Thunderfoot? Now, PhD clown Thunderfoot actually asserted that gas go down, go boom, boom. And by false equivalence, Rumpus wants to assert that gas go down, go boom, boom. So when I ask gas out of a kettle, does it go down, go boom, boom? Why isn't he just saying, yeah, it behaves like bouncy balls poured into a fish tank? Why don't you just say, yeah, gas out of a kettle goes down, go boom, boom? Why can't you say, yeah? That's what you're fighting for.
The depth of them.
You don't understand just between velocity.
Oh, it's me. I don't understand what a kettle does. It's me. I'm stupid. Me and my 3-year-old, we don't understand what a kettle does. We don't understand that the gas out of a kettle goes up. Yeah, I should understand your explanation of how it goes down, go boom, boom. Maybe you could pour some bouncy balls into a fish tank so I'll understand.
Being accelerated down.
What, like bouncy balls? No, it's going up. My God, ball belief, man. What harsh.
How is it something accelerating down as it's moving up, Rumpus?
You can be going up, but being accelerated down. This is the concept.
How are you going up and down at the same
Man, this
time,
reminds me
Rumpus?
of freaking Kosho and The Rock. It goes up and it goes down. It goes up and it goes down. I cannot believe you guys. How much does that gas weigh again? And it's going up and it's going down. What the hell are you
No,
talking
that's
about?
fine. That's fine. It goes up and down. Okay. So if we ignore the gas that's coming out of the kettle going up, and given that it starts on the ground, What part of it's
Goes in
going
all
down?
directions. Right. So if you imagine the little gas coming out of your kettle as being a bouncy ball, and let's suppose it starts off going upwards at 500 meters per second.
So it goes up. What happened to gravity? Why would it be going up at 500 meters per second? No. Down. 9.8 meters per second. That's the acceleration of gravity. What do you mean it starts off going up? What happened to gravity?
Understand the difference between
Sorry, what happened to gravity? Going up at an exponentially fast speed? What happened to gravity there, Rumpus?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Why is it going up?
Why is it going up? Shouldn't it be going
You're
down?
not getting it.
You can be going up, but being
Oh, it could.
Is this the new up gravity?
The new up gravity. I thought it had to go
Back to
down at
reality.
9.8
Whoops,
meters
there
per second
goes
per second.
gravity.
Are we confused? No, it should be going down.
Sorry, Nathan.
Should it not be going down?
just like I can throw a ball up into the air, but it's being
We're not throwing the gas
accelerated
up.
down.
We're not throwing the gas
I
up.
can
Stop
throw
it.
a
You're
ball
saying
up
it's
in
going
the
up.
air, but it's
We're
being
not talking about a bouncy
accelerated
ball.
down.
So what you're saying is when the gas goes up, it's going down. No, it's not. It's just going up.
I can throw a ball in the air.
And ball isn't a gas out of a kettle, so you seem to be transposing your ball example onto my kettle example. And my question still hasn't been answered. That's what fundamentalist religious ball belief does to you. Leaves you in a position where you literally can't say, yeah, I'm fighting for gas going down, go boom, boom, like bouncy balls poured into a fish tank. And when asked what gas out of a kettle does, I don't just say, yeah, it goes down, go boom, boom. Because it doesn't, does it?
But you don't understand the difference.
I don't understand. That's right. It's really me that's the problem here, right? I don't understand how gas comes out of a kettle. With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thing, not after show, live show possible. Stay tuned if you're watching on either premiering stream, because there will be an after show to follow. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.